and then go here.
Okay.
So, dear Heavenly Father, we come together in your name. May you enlighten our hearts, our mind, and our soul to understand the text in this book, Living Spring. In your name, so be it.
So be it.
Okay, so today it says, let us be content.
Okay.
So Sheila, you want to read today or you want me or Valerie to do it? Sheila?
I'm here. It takes me a while to unmute. No, you guys read. My eyes are killing me today.
Okay.
Okay. Want me to read?
Yeah, you can. I can.
Okay. But if we have food and clothing, let us be content with it. Paul, verse 1 of Timothy 6:8. Hoarders of the wheat will furnish their table with but a few slices of bread to satisfy their hunger. Owners of textile factories will spare only a few yards of fabric to make clothing for themselves.
Is that common of a hoarder though?
Hoarders of wheat will furnish their table with, well, a lot of times hoarders aren't good to themselves. They hoard, but they're fearful, so they hold on to everything.
Okay.
Unless they're, yeah, I don't know. No one should feed or clothe themselves based on gluttony or vanity, but on the principles that govern life on its natural foundations. Based on gluttony.
No one should feed themselves or clothe themselves based on God. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that because what happens when you become a glutton, you can become very unhealthy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you're never satisfied. I mean, there's no satiation. There's never enough.
Yeah, right. And then there's the shopaholics, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That spend all of their money on shoes, purses, clothes, and end up sometimes starving because they spend so much on the material items. I've actually was in I went to Job Corps years ago, and there was actually, I met a person, the first person I ever knew who actually treated themselves like that. And I couldn't understand it, me being on the opposite end, I was in the food and she was in the clothes. And she believed that she would rather starve for a week, if it need be, to have a pair of shoes or to have a pair of pants. And I had never met anybody like that before. She was the first person. I couldn't believe it. It was real.
That's pretty odd. I knew of a woman in LA who had 3 or 4 units, like storage units filled with things with the tags still on. And she ended up dying before she ever got to wear them or use them, but it was just an obsession, And another person I know hoarded books. And you couldn't even walk into her house. You had a little pathway. And then from her house, she was run out by all the books. And then she rented an apartment and did the same thing. And then my father was a friend of hers and he had his car there. And she said, could I please have your car to put books in? And he said, no, you never read them. And it's odd.
Wow, really?
Yeah, just really very odd, very odd. Anyway.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and she would eat and like shove food down her mouth, just really, just like couldn't get enough.
She wouldn't enjoy it, just shoving.
Oh, yeah. And all these books that she never read, and so it's interesting.
No, one of my friend's dads, you couldn't even go into their house in Oakland. It was layered with piles of newspapers. I mean, it started small and then it was getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And then you had a pathway to the door.
Right.
And then you could barely get a pathway to the door.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was all newspapers.
Wow.
Geez.
Like the ones you see on TV, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the hoarders. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let me close. I should close my camera.
No, if you wanted to. I didn't know
Oh,
if you
okay.
wanted to.
Okay. I'm cool.
Okay, go.
I'm better today.
Okay.
It's all good. Okay. Okay. Why do you wait for a banquet to offer a few leftovers to those who are hungry? Why do you have to have a large sum of money first before assisting someone in want? Yeah.
Yeah.
Charity is not, yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Why do you wait for the banquet? You
Oh.
know, and this is really sad too, because a lot of times the food goes to waste anyway.
Right.
And then you're trying to find somebody to give it to at the last minute. And it isn't charitable. You know, unfortunately, it's not charity.
Right. And the one about you think you have to have a lot of money in order to share, which you really don't. Anything is good, do you know?
True. That's
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah, because then you never have enough, to share. If you're waiting always to have, I got to have enough.
That's true.
Charity does not depend on one's wallet or purse. Its source is found in the heart. Amen.
I agree.
Amen. The desire to have enough money to help one's neighbor or oneself in times of uncertainty and insecurity is always praiseworthy. However, limiting one's practice of the good to a full coffer is deplorable. Limiting one's practice of the good to a full, like if you have to wait, if you think you have to wait
I see.
until you have enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that what a lot of people do? They want to wait till they have enough.
Definitely. Today I saw a program where an 80-year-old man, his rent was raised and he couldn't afford his rent. So he went back to work at the school where he was a janitor, and he wasn't happy about it and he wasn't healthy. And so different kids at the school saw him working and set up a GoFundMe page for him. And first, I think, asked for $20,000 to help him. And it's up to 200,000 now.
Wow.
Yeah, for a GoFundMe. So I thought that was pretty cool of the kids,
Yeah, that is. So
Very,
did you
very-
go home? That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah.
Well, that's enough to go home for a while.
Yeah, it is. It's enough to pay for his apartment and.
Or
do
go
some-
get a little 1-bedroom something, huh?
Yes.
So
that
you
would
won't
be-
have that problem.
Exactly. Oh, I thought that was pretty cool.
That is pretty awesome.
Until the government gets involved and wants to tax them on it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I wonder what the rules are about that, how much you can keep in a GoFundMe or,
Good question.
yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Hmm,
Yeah.
okay.
All righty. The sentiment to shine in there. Therefore, open the doors of your soul and allow your sentiment to shine on everyone, just like the sun whose rays illuminate, comfort, nourish, and warm.
That's what the children did.
Yeah, they did. The rain falls as mere drops, but it fertilizes the soil and sustains billions of lives. Let us share what little we may have, and amplified by love, with time it will turn into widespread prosperity. If properly cared for, a few seeds may increase to eventually cover huge fields. Thus, let us be joyful and help all those who are a part of our journey. Am I missing some of the words? No, a part of our journey, because according to the wise words of the apostle, if we have the blessing of daily bread and clothing, we are to live and serve in peace and contentment.
Remember that story where the man, I guess he wanted his friend's wife, and he kills the friend so he could have his wife.
Well, that's out of the Bible. That's like David and Bathsheba, I think, or something. And he sends the husband off to war and then gets with the wife.
Oh,
think-
yeah, that is that story too, but there's.
Yeah. Oh, this is a separate one. Okay.
Yeah, there's one in one of these books. I don't know if it's in the Greater World or one of them, those spiritual books.
Okay.
And so I don't know what book that was, but anyway, what happened was,
Regina, I think it's the one that we read about, the sex one. The one where you come back.
oh, Sex and Destiny,
Yeah,
maybe.
but I think it sounds like it's Sex and Destiny.
And so I can't remember exactly what had happened, but because he was so generous when he married the wife, he helped over, I guess it was like 500 people get jobs. He created jobs for the community and for all these people to be able to survive and live, that he lessened his debt.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and this puts me in that mind of when you have a heart of charity and you do it, it lessens your debt. And the reason I feel that it's important for you to learn these debts. It's like this young gentleman I think I was talking about last time, where he was at Home Depot when I saw him with his head down like this, and he was saying that somebody stole his little rig, his bike, and he had a little rig thing, a cart full of his belongings, his sleeping bag and his tent, his clothes, his food, everything was in it. And he parked it in front of Target to go use the restroom. And when he came out, the chain was on the ground. And he said he hunted all night long trying to find his stuff or see who may have had it. And he asked around in all the homeless camps and everywhere he could walk to try and find it. He said the police wouldn't help him because it wasn't over $1,000. And he said his bike was 300 and his cart was such and such. So long story even shorter, I was asking him what else was, what was going on with him. And so that's what he proceeded to tell me. And he said he was married and he separated because they got into a little tiff because one day he was taking his son to school and the son said, oh, mom's friend lives over there. And he said, what friend? He said, the one she kisses. And so that created a separation.
Sure.
And so long story even shorter, he said he had worked really hard to get a car. And somebody stole it. I said, what? He said, yeah, that was the hardest thing ever. I said, well, what kind of work did you do? He said, I would steal from the new homes that were being built. I'd go in and steal all the appliances and stuff like that out of them. And he said, but when somebody stole my car, he said, that was a lesson learned. I got that. He said, I will not steal ever again. I said, wow, what a way to learn a lesson, to myself. Right. I said, well, wow, you get it. What goes around comes around, and things happen until you get it. And that's the awakening of, to me, it's not a meant to be suffering. It's a meant to be whatever way you get to wake up to be a better person. It's not a punishment. If you get it earlier and don't have to go through such a level, you know what I mean?
I do.
So, it's however way a person must learn. That's how I'm seeing it. But anyway, I was really appreciative that he shared this story with me. And he also said that one of the homeless guys had went into 5 and Below, the store we have over here, and stole, he said, at least 60 bags of stuff. And he said he took them back. He took them from him and took them back to the store.
Wow.
When he took him to the store, the girl bought him a sleeping bag and a tent. And that was part of what was stolen from him.
Oh, wow.
So remember, he would go into these homes and steal what's vital, you know? The people stole from him what was vital, and now he knows what it feels like
Right, right.
from his own admission, you know, which was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so these, I think all of these different scenarios are meant to help us, not to, I guess, to help us be better people on our path. It's just interesting.
Well, I actually think it's really cool because, you know, I'm struggling this year with being charitable.
Mhm.
And I'm usually really, you know me, I'm usually pretty charitable in my room. And I'm having a hard time this year because I've encountered people breaking stuff, deliberately breaking, like somebody just tried to break my $50 pencil sharpener. So I'd have no pencil sharpener for the kids. I mean, just stuff being broken. And I'm having a hard time. For me, I love being charitable, but I'm having a hard time letting stuff out because some of the kids are deliberately breaking it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
so I'm trying to have my charity, but I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this and not get upset?
mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you know, when you're dealing with a lot of kids, you know, I was telling Valerie earlier about this book. It's called A Diary of a Drug Addict, and how this young man lived to tell a story through a medium anyway, and how he became depressed. And it's the rhetoric that they hear at home. Oh, you're nothing. Oh, you know, it's just the way parents say things. And for this young man in this book, they would tell him, you know, I don't know why we had a kid, you know, things like that. And it never left him. I mean, and the mother and the father they loved him. They were happy they had a child, but they for years debated on whether or not they would have a child, you know, because things that they like to do, the way that they like to live. And finally, one day they said, okay, yeah, we could do this. But then when they got them, they didn't realize the work that was necessary to put into the child. And so their complaints weren't amongst them. They were always in earshot of the child. And he took it to heart. He thought it was his fault that they were unhappy. And then in turn, they made him unhappy. He couldn't focus in school anymore because of the things they would say to him. And when you talk about your kids, I'm wondering if this is some of the stuff that's going on at home. You know, Peter Duna always said, when you have kids, he said, it's unfortunate because a lot of teachers have a hard time with kids, and it's their approach, you know. But, you know, everybody don't have all that mastery, you know, we have to learn it. And so, but anyway, long story short, we never know what's going on in the home, and those kids bring it to your classroom, is what I'm saying. They're destructive.
I agree with you. And somebody made an observation. They said, oh, you get the brunt of whatever happened at home first thing in the morning. So by the time they go somewhere else, they've kind of cleared it out of their space, or whatever's coming on from the weekend.
And
'Cause the
how do you,
weekend is-
and how are you making a change for it? What are you doing?
besides grounding the whole classroom and bringing it up to gold frame,
Yeah, actually, yes.
I'm doing those. I'm grounding the whole classroom, bringing it up to gold, and I'm seeing everybody grounded.
But what about the material level? I mean, you have the physical and you have the spiritual. They both got to meet in the middle. What are you
Well,
doing?
the material is, I am not giving them as much work as I normally do because I can't handle it. So I've had to kind of augment the work.
Unfortunately, Sheila, I get what you're saying. It's unfortunate that for these kids are that way, but what I'm thinking of is a more personal approach. And I know you don't have time for all that, but sometimes it helps just to first thing in the morning, let's see how everybody is doing. How was you? How are you? How was your
Oh,
day?
no, I do that. I do that in the morning. Yeah, I do that in the morning. And I will tell you, it has helped change some of their behaviors. And yeah, I have been doing that. And I started the year like that, and then I got out of it because I got really, some of the kids would just walk in the door and not say anything. It's like they wouldn't even want to look at you.
That's okay. That shouldn't stop you from saying good morning. If they don't
Yeah.
say anything, that doesn't mean that they didn't hear that hello, that love coming from you. That
Yeah.
you feel it. And like they say, love, it penetrates through all walls and all barriers. So long as your love is pure, it will reach them. It will reach them. But you know how it is when we communicate. So, but anyway, we can do our close and then we can continue chatting if you like.
Okay. Can I add one thing? I
Oh,
saw,
for sure.
yeah, I saw a program on the Sunday morning. I'm back on the Sunday morning, CBS Sunday morning, and it was about a bus driver who greeted every single kid that came on that bus, talked to them every day, gave them a nice hug, remembered their birthday, bought them a little something, acknowledged each and every one of them, and they all loved him. And so years later, they're all still all his kids, and then they made him a liaison between the students and within the school itself, because everybody knew him, but he was like the father that these kids didn't have, you know, at home, or that they always wanted, and all colors, all types. And so there is something about seeing them individually and seeing them as being whole, even if they're brats, you know.
Right,
It will
exactly.
stop being brat soon. It was very, very impactful, very impactful.
And that's what the spirits are saying. You have to say hello to that spirit. You got to
Right.
connect to that spirit. Otherwise, it's going to continue the way you're expressing it, Sheila. And it's not very unpleasant.
Right.
But
Well, it's
being
not
being
happening
a
that way.
spiritual person, I know you know how to say hello to these kids.
Mm.
No, it is changing, and it's down to 3 from where it was.
Well, that's
And
good. That's good.
and it's the three that are where it is are even. So how do I explain this? So one of them, who's way crazy as far as I'm concerned, way crazy. He's been deliberately not coming to my class so he can miss it because he has an anxiety about math and science. But when he showed up today, he wreaked havoc, and some of the other kids finally were brave enough to say, yeah, he did it. And he threw something at somebody and hit them in the face.
Mm.
And he broke somebody's computer on purpose. And my co-teacher just happened to be there. I was helping kids in the front, and she just goes, all right, who did it? And they're afraid of this kid. And so she said, did Zaman do it? Because he was back there where he didn't belong. And she said she got 7 nods from kids acknowledging that, yeah. So we'll see, because I've tried to put in paperwork to get his mom to come in so I could get him an IEP and get him services and special needs, and she will not answer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've documented stuff, and I've called her, and I'm like, he needs help. I got to get him services before he gets any older because it's getting too critical.
Yeah.
And she will not respond. She didn't respond to a bunch of people who called out to say, hey, we want to help you with this.
Did they send a letter to her house?
I don't know if they've done that far yet, but I do know they've called, and I know they've emailed.
Maybe a nice letter.
Yeah. You know, and his attitude today was, well, I'm late because I'm avoiding your class.
It's okay.
And I'm like, okay.
It,
Mhm.
I would welcome him no matter if he's late or not, and come on in.
I know, I
Good
said
to
it was
have you.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that, and I even said, "Are you gonna stay in at lunch so I can help you get your work done?" "Can I just do it in the afternoon?" "Fine, I'm not gonna argue with you. Not
Yeah.
gonna argue. You made a promise to your mom, you still haven't kept it. I'm not gonna argue with you."
Mhm.
I would tell him how smart he actually is. You know, whether he's got an aptitude or not, and tell him you believe that he does,
Mhm.
and that you know he can do this, and really build him up. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
just a thought.
Yeah, and believe it or not, Sheila, all the work that is that you may be in a little resistance to, but it's you that will be stronger for it and be better for it.
Mm.
All the work that is required for the spirit of each child.
Mhm.
It will help you not put your heart in a cage, or even open a door for any negativity to build in your space, which is paramount,
I agree. I
because
agree.
we're constantly being tested no matter where we are or what we do. So yeah, stay strong, stay
Yeah.
strong. Because
They're like, sorry.
no, go ahead, Val.
I was going to say they're so lucky to have her,
Right,
as a conscious person, as their teacher,
right, I
That's-
agree.
Yeah, very, very lucky.
They have no idea how lucky they are.
Yeah.
They're in a room with a golden light that's grounded. Come on, you know. Always say a prayer in that room. Always, throughout the day, say the prayer in that room. Put the prayer in front of the door when they walk in. They hit the prayer. But
Mm.
yeah, I would totally validate each child, even though they have the worst behavior. You want to say hello to the spirit that is always good. It's always
Yes, I
good.
agree with you. I agree
Yeah.
with you. I totally agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you keep up the good work. You're getting there.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Believe me, I'm doing better because I was hitting suicide pictures for the last 3 weeks and I finally cleared all those.
Well, those are never yours.
I know.
They're
Thank
never
God.
yours. They're never yours.
Yeah.
And because God, your angels, your guardians would never give you those kinds of vibrations.
Yeah.
And who knows, you may be getting rid of what's affecting your classroom as well.
Mm.
So
Oh,
keep strong, my sister. Keep strong.
mhm.
Keep your head up because you're helping. No matter how it looks or feels to you, try not to take it personal because this is your job, and this
Yeah.
is something you set up for this lifetime. And I think you're doing good. I'm with Valerie. I think
Yeah.
you're in the right place.
I don't know. I believe I'm in the right place for sure.
Mhm.
I do know that. I definitely
Yeah.
do that.
I remember years ago, I think it was on an Oprah, who I used to love to watch all the time. And I think it was Maya Angelou, or a psychologist, who was saying that, let's say when you were a little baby, let's say your mother had postpartum depression and was depressed. And when you looked in her face, she didn't look at you with joy or with love or with happiness. She was depressed. It was her own problem. So a child's esteem is formed by how the mother and the father look at them, like you were saying earlier, Regina, about the reflection that they get. And so one of the best things that you can do for a child is to light up when you see them, that you are pleased to see them, no matter how crummy they may act or whatever. But it's like acknowledging them in a way that improves their self-esteem. And a lot of times they're acting out to get attention.
Absolutely.
Just to get your attention.
Every one of those kids in her classroom have a heart problem. Something's wrong with their heart.
Right. Wow.
Something is bothering each one of those kids that's
Right.
disturbing your class. And they're not there to learn about mathematics
Right.
and reading. They are there for some love and attention that is
Correct.
on a spiritual level. That's it. That's all. Once they get that food, they will change.
They will come up.
They will.
Yeah.
But they need that food.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you on that one.
Even if you got to put on a mask, smile at them.
Oh, no, I smile and you know,
Yeah.
I get, when I get going, like they'll say something and I have a comeback and it comes back fast. And they're like, oh, she's gonna roast us. And I'm not necessarily always gonna roast, but it's like, and I was also an athlete, so it's like if I see something flying, my arm will just go out and catch it. And they're just like, how does she do that? And I'm like, I just kind of thought, corner of my eye. I'll take that. Thank you very much.
That's pretty funny.
Wow, what's funnier is I can throw a football like a quarterback and I can throw it really far. So the boys are just all in like, she can throw a football and she can catch it. And I'm
Cool.
like, yeah, okay. And I can do a 3-point shot too. I did one the other day and they were just dumbfounded. And I said, that's the only one you're going to get.
Well, you can do math around it, especially those
Yeah.
that, don't want to do their math. If they like sports, do math. How many feet?
Oh, no, we
away,
even, yeah.
the shot, there's so much you can do around sports when it comes to guys anyway.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so which one wants to do the close? Or if you don't have anything more to say, because this is.
Okay, I just want to send you lots of love and lots of appreciation, because you're
Thank you.
forming human
Appreciate it.
beings, it's amazing. So just,
Well,
that's-
as soon as we're
and
done,
you-
I'm going to bed because I've been up since 2:30 because I haven't been sleeping again.
okay, well, let's say a closing.
Well, hopefully you get some rest tonight. And
Yeah.
remember, when you go to bed at night, not only when you say your Lord's Prayer, but you ask God from your heart, Father, may I have counseling?
Mm,
And to ask Father, can I have counseling on how to teach these children or how to give their heart the food they need? Father, can you help me with the patience? These are your children and I don't want to offend them. Whatever it is that comes to your heart, from your heart, you must speak to God, but you can ask to be prepared the night before for the day coming. You can go to school, you can study, you can pray, you can be in a workshop that helps each one of the children at their house. There's so many ways to ask for help on a spiritual level, and they do help.
and they'll instruct you in your sleep.
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
But it has to be heartfelt. It can't be all about, well, I'm a this, and it has to be about me, and I'm one of them. I'm trying to teach them math. I need them to listen. No,
I'm not doing any of
I'm
that.
giving an example of how it won't work out. But if you, and now remember, the camera is still on and we're still taping, so it's not just you. It's
Yeah.
everybody
Right.
that's listening will get an idea of how to act. So it's never just us here. But I do appreciate you guys. I really do. Okay,
You too.
so who wants to do the closing prayer?
I can attempt. I will do.
Thank you, Jane.
I will do. Dearest Heavenly Father, all the good spirits, our wonderful guides, teachers, angels, loved ones who are surrounding us at this moment, thank you for letting us come together to commune, to give our heart and our love to one another and wisdom. Thank you for all that we have. Thank you for the roof over my head. Thank you for the food that I have, the work that I have, the goodness that surrounds me, the friendship, the love. It is with a grateful heart that I set this word into the law, knowing that this or something better is already so. And so it is. With love and gratitude, we close our evening's session.
And so it is. Thank
And
you.
so